Let's get this out of the way first. Travel in the Northeast Corridor is an ignominious affair.
Disgraceful.
That route was once a jewel of passenger rail. We were way ahead of the rest of the world. Today, we can't even be mentioned in the same sentence as Italy, France, or Japan. Traveling from New York to DC by train is needlessly expensive and, by today's standards, absurdly slow. Really, something needs to be done here.
Yeah, right. Like it's all they think about all day.
As for the city itself, it is our capital. And yes, some areas are truly, truly beautiful. That said, Washington, D.C. has never been exactly fortunate with urban planning.
It's the politicians. They're money-grubbing assholes who only think about themselves.
Okay, hush. Let me talk, okay?
Don't tell me what to do.
Right. So, the original plan by a Frenchman named Pierre L'Enfant was reluctantly accepted by the founding fathers. Still, even though he envisioned these, grand diagonals converging on symbolic sites, his scale was, human. Plazas, circles, and boulevards that could be walked and actually feel lived in. Some modifications were made. The process was interrupted by the War of 1812. And in 1814, the Brits torched some federal buildings and some residential ones, including the White House.
Vandalism on an industrial scale.
Most buildings were restored, some improved upon. After that, the original plan somehow just fell through. Then, almost a century later, Senator James McMillan of Michigan put together a different plan, emphasizing grandeur, which was a popular idea back then at the start of the 20th century.
He was a moron.
Not necessarily. But he wasn't exactly our version of Baron Osman. I do have a video on Eugène Osman, an urban planner par excellence, a person anyone involved in urban planning should look up to. Yeah. Anyway, the budget was agreed upon, as was the approximate amount of kickbacks, whereupon true professionals took over the project, as is their wont, and suddenly the city center became, overly monumental, with vast, underpopulated areas. As a result, the National Mall today is ceremonial and empty. The two things that make a city vibrant, the human scale and neighborhood life, those are gone. Neighborhoods are no longer tied together. There is no overall harmony.
Shit.
That's right. Today, huge gaps exist between residential, commercial, and civic areas, producing sterile zones where people don't naturally walk, shop, or live. It's beautiful in spots, and look at that, right? There are monumental buildings here and there, but it's all disjointed. There's no unity, there's no ensemble, no harmony. Metro stations are too far apart. That's because the system was designed as a hybrid, part urban rapid transit, part suburban rail. The result is it doesn't quite deliver on either.
Bunch of feckless parasites.
Will you shut up?
I'm within my rights.
There are neighborhoods that are breathtaking architecturally, thanks in part to zoning laws that prevent developers from erecting file cabinet high-rises. But most of these areas have no cafes, no shops, and as a result, no neighborhood life. Vibrancy only exists in isolated pockets here and there. Take, New Hampshire Avenue. Eye candy, really, but deserted most of the time, just like the historical center.
That's just sad.
Can improvements be made? Can Washington, D.C. suddenly become a vibrant, welcoming, hospitable city? Of course.
Huh.
Shut up. Smaller scale interventions along the mall, cafes, kiosks, shaded seating could encourage businesses to activate the street front. Some green squares would also be welcome. More metro stations would be nice.
Idiots.
And would a few streetcar lines really hurt? With a couple of stops in Georgetown, perhaps? You know, streetcars are known to activate streets and, paradoxically, encourage walking. They would integrate isolated neighborhoods into the historic core. Georgetown, New Hampshire Avenue, and the mall could all feel connected, lively, and human scale. This would also boost tourism. Visitors could hop on and off along scenic corridors instead of relying on taxis and walking long stretches of nothing. Those wide, empty avenues and federal plazas that feel like barriers, add pathways and lighting to encourage foot traffic. Widen sidewalks, add bike lanes, and allow space for cafes. Encourage local services, shops, and offices near residential areas so people could walk instead of drive. All this could be accomplished without demolishing a single building. Naturally, there would be protests, since developers and bureaucrats are not known for their sportsmanship, and since they're invariably suspicious of anything that might threaten the status quo, and with it their sources of income, but that's a minor detail. Now, let me point out something else that might be important. You see, major cities around the globe are built around their primary temple. In Paris, that would be Notre Dame.
Naturally.
In Rome, St. Peter's Basilica. Technically not the main church, but aesthetically and culturally, it defines the city. In London, St. Paul's. In St. Petersburg, St. Isaac's Cathedral. In Kiev, they have St. Sophia. In New York, no, not St. Patrick's as some people think, but Trinity Church, the one on Broadway, corner of Wall Street. Philadelphia, Christ Church. San Francisco, Grace Cathedral. In Washington, many would hesitate, but yes, the National Cathedral. It is unquestionably beautiful. It's stunning. But it's out of the way. It's in the middle of nowhere. There are no buildings around it that would complement it, forming an ensemble. It's beauty without context. One problem, as I see it, is that Washington is run, or at least heavily influenced, by politicians, most of whom are from out of town. These people, especially in high positions, have around-the-clock, door-to-door car service. They step out of their houses, paid for by taxpayers, of course, and straight into the limo. They get out in front of the restaurant, theater, hotel, or the Capitol, depending on their schedule. You know, I'm sorry, I have to run. I have a meeting on the Hill.
Stupid idlers.
They don't ride the metro and they don't walk the streets. With the exception of the occasional photo op, they don't like to mingle with us plebeians. Contact with the rabble can be so exhausting.
Arrogant pricks.
So they don't care. But we do, or at least we should. It is our capital, and we can vote. Please like this video. Please subscribe to the channel. Check out my site. Look at the books. Consider purchasing one. Look at my paintings. Consider purchasing one. I'm Ricky Vernio, coming to you from Washington, D.C. this time, and I'll see you soon.